and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams.
And with that, welcome in everybody to another edition of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon, and welcome in everybody. We are back for another week of Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. We appreciate you tuning on in. Chad, we got some new sponsors here on the Inside Edge Network, and yeah, if you just heard, this is Inside Edge Primetime. That is Fanatics, one of our new sponsors. Yeah, absolutely. Very excited to have them aboard and very excited to have another week of Primetime here, my friend. How are you feeling? I know you've had a very crazy weekend.
Yeah, it was a wild one. I think a lot of people would probably share my experience. Yeah, no weekend shows. We missed the illegal formation and the Sunday sports show because of the winds. I mean, I think we all were a little affected by that. We saw the 85-mile-per-hour wind gust at Cleveland Hopkins or whatever that was. That's wild. And by the way, I think that's what took everything out for us because they said that happened at about 3:09, 3:10 or whatever at Hopkins. And about 3:20, about 10 minutes later, I heard a sound come out of the sky on Friday, Eli, that I've never heard in my life. I've been in close proximity to a couple of tornadoes. I've heard tornadoes in the vicinity, whatever. Never heard a sound come out of the sky like that. Watched a few trees fall in our backyard, and suddenly my power was out. We didn't see that again until Sunday evening. Went out again for a little bit, came back on. So yeah, my weekend was, go to the gas station, fill the gas can, fill the generator, start the generator, go back to the gas can, or go back to the gas station, fill the gas can, come back, stop the generator, fill it all the rest of the way up, start it again. Hope it runs long enough. It's stressful, man. We lost power. Not the biggest deal in the world. But sometimes when you have kids, it can be a little bit rough without power, and luckily it wasn't too extremely cold or, the weather wasn't crazy. There wasn't anything really. Just, keep the refrigerator cold, keep the water running, and, keep the septic going and things like that, because that's important. But yeah, man, it was a wild one. I don't know. That's all I got, man. It was wild.
Yeah, we didn't have it as bad as you did. We actually did lose power for a moment this morning.
Yeah.
And I forgot to charge my phone, so my phone was dead. And then I was like, oh, so did what any resourceful technological person would do, and I used my laptop. I plugged in the charger, and I started charging the phone that way.
Yeah.
But power was on very quickly, a lot quicker than you did have it on back this weekend. So. I'm doing all right. It sounded like you had a case of the Mondays all weekend. We're glad that you're back on the airways. We're excited to hear your takes on a bunch of stuff. We got a lot to talk about. World Baseball Classic. We have, obviously, we're going to talk about the NBA. They're in the news. Obviously, the season's going on, but just some news in terms of like teams moving forward, maybe some different cities for the NBA, and then we'll also talk about the NCAA tournament, that and a lot more. So I'm excited to have a conversation here with you, and I think that's where we should start, is the World Baseball Classic. The semifinals are in full swing, and I know you've had the power going in and out, a lot, as much as what you can watch and see. But USA, they took down the Dominican Republic yesterday in a great semifinal matchup. And right now, Venezuela and Italy are in a absolute battle right now. And Venezuela is taking a late surge. Last I checked, it was 4-2. I looked because I have it on the big TV behind me. But last time I checked, it was 4-2 Venezuela over Italy. And it just seems like right now we are in the midst of a really very fun World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
Well, what have been your thoughts so far? Just, I mean, on the questions on the semifinals, but just overall in the World Baseball Classic, Chad. It's been, I mean, between Venezuela knocking off Japan, USA defeating the Dominican Republic, Juan Soto. I mean, we'll talk about him a little bit later on, and the comments. I mean, there's been the Marta Rosa stuff with thinking they clinched the quarterfinals without the quarterfinals. I mean, there's so much to take. So yes, I wanted your thoughts on the semifinals that are going on, but I'm also curious just your thoughts in general on the World Baseball Classic.
Well, listen, and from what you said there was a great semifinal matchup. That's what I heard. Because the thing that I didn't mention about the power going out is when we got the power back, I decided to get a hold of my internet company because my internet's been a little weird lately, and I thought, you know what, while we're fixing everything, let's get a hold of them. And while I was literally chatting with the representative, our Wi-Fi went down for about 5 hours last night. So I did not get to watch the semifinal, unfortunately, but I did. I saw some highlights today. Um, I saw Geraldo Perdomo. It's whatever, low slider from Mason Miller. From what I understand, again, it's hard for me to speak from experience because I didn't get to see the whole game, but I believe the home plate umpire was calling low pitches most of the night. That's not really. It's tough to get called out and end the game on a call like that. Listen, it appeared to be low, right? It appeared to be out of the zone. I do agree with a lot of comments I've seen online today where you got to be ready to swing at everything, right? But you also want to be a selective hitter. When you know it's not a strike, or at least you feel like it's not a strike, you're not going to swing at that. You're not going to offer at it. So just tough loss for the Dominican. Tough way to end it, really. But they had their chances, right? I mean, they had bases loaded, I think, at one point. Guys on second and third with one out. A runner on second with one out. I mean, they had chances to get that tying run home and didn't do it. And I think that's obviously a testament to the U.S. bullpen and the pitching staff. I mean, Paul Skeens was pretty good for 4 to 3rd. I think he pitched. And I told you asked me what the key was just before the game and during the weekend. I said they got to make Skeens throw some pitches, and they did for the most part. I think they were pretty patient. It seems like I was looking at the pitch count again. Didn't get to watch the game, so I'm trying to go off the box score. So you can tell a lot from a box score if you read it the right way. You can tell just the way some things went. It seems like they made him throw some pitches, but he was also pretty good in and around the zone. So not like they really knocked him out of there. I don't know. I'm assuming a pitching change was made in the 5th for a reason, but I did not see that. So again, it's hard to speak on that. Boy, you feel really disconnected, by the way, when you have no power, no Wi-Fi, nothing going on over the weekend. I had a 5G connection, but it was spotty. We're out in the country, so it was okay. But it's just you can't sit there and watch a streaming baseball game on that. So I feel a little disconnected. But man, I mean, we've seen everything in this World Baseball Classic. A full-time electrician, a Chechian electrician, coming and getting a standing ovation, 4 to 3rd or whatever shutout innings against the Japanese team, which I thought was just like a really cool moment, man. Watching him come off the mound and just kind of soaking up that ovation, knowing that's probably the last time he'll be on a field in a game that matters that much. Man, what a cool way to go out. That was really cool. Right now, what is it? I think it's still 4-2. I don't have that score in front of me now, but top of the 9th, 4-2, Venezuela, right?
Yeah. Top of the 9th, 2 outs right now here in Venezuela at the plate, obviously. So they'll have an opportunity here. The Italians, Team Italy, 4-2, they're down. So we'll see what goes on and who advances to take on Team USA. But I've had a lot of fun watching this World Baseball Classic. You mentioned some of the stories. Just been a lot of fun. We really thought, for Team USA, this was probably the end for a moment when they played Team Italy. They lost that shocker, at the time a shocker. But Team Italy's been playing really good baseball. I mean, even at this point, I know they're down. They're going to be down to the final 3 outs here, coming to the bottom of the 9th inning. But they were a team that, going into this in the tournament style, the single elimination style of the tournament, they were a team that was one of the favorites, I'd imagine, going into this portion of the tournament. And especially with Japan being eliminated, it's like, okay, maybe it is Italy, but Venezuela, they look like they're maybe a team of destiny in this World Baseball Classic. Knocking off Japan, striking out Shohei Ohtani twice. The first few times, only 2 times he had struck out in the entire World Baseball Classic was when he played Team Venezuela, and they struck him out once looking, once swinging. Very, very cool stuff. What people call it nowadays, cinema. And that's what it was with the World Baseball Classic, what it's been. And I think we're obviously in for a good final, no matter who it is. If it's USA versus Venezuela, USA versus Italy, a rematch, does USA get their win back? does Italy, finish it out, or is Venezuela the team of destiny? So we'll kind of see there. I'm really excited, really, really excited. It'll still be interesting to see what happens, obviously, in the offseason, or, the offseason for World Baseball Classic till the next one, because, will Mark DeRosa be the manager of this team? Is this his final hurrah? After everything that still went down, what does this mean for, team, Dominican Republic and Juan Soto, who apparently believes that they're the best team? They showed that they are the best team, Chad. With that loss yesterday, they showed you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I listen. It's okay to feel that way. He said the best team in baseball, and I'm confused. He's obviously not talking about the Mets, so I guess he meant the Dominican Republic team. It's great to have confidence in yourself and in your teammates. And I told you, we texted before the show, and I said, listen, if that game had been like a 14-11, old school American League type, wall banger, whatever, just hitting balls in the gaps everywhere, and one reliever came in and was off that day and gave up 6 or 7 runs, and then sure, you could say, okay, we lost that game, but we also mashed pretty well. And I think aside of one inning where it got away from us, we showed who the better team was. But I mean, a 2-1 loss listen, you got shut down, right? I mean, you can't say it any other way. And we can talk about the call. One call doesn't make a baseball game. It's unfortunate that is the call that the game ended on. I agree. I think it was low. But that doesn't change the fact that Mason Miller has been virtually unhittable since September 7th or 8th.
Yeah.
I think he's faced 50 batters now, struck out 39 of them without giving up a hit. He's thrown like 272 consecutive pitches without giving up a base runner, I think. That's insane. Okay. So I don't know that one pitch necessarily would have made that big of a difference, right? He finally allows a base runner. You go on to the next guy. He gets him out, whatever. But yeah, like I said, Miller virtually unhittable. The Dominican didn't really get to anybody in that game for the U.S. all day. So listen, Juan Soto, love the confidence. I like Juan Soto. I don't have any problem with Juan Soto, but I think that statement was incorrect, that he made after the game. I just, again, I don't fault the kid for being confident. I mean, he's been confident since day one. I mean, he was in the major leagues at 19, 20 years old. So clearly you have to have a huge amount of self-confidence and confidence in your teammates and whatever. But I think he was just incorrect on this one, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with loving your team and loving your teammates, but I think the U.S. clearly showed that they were the better team. When you win 2-1 in a close game, I think that takes some, as the kids say, intestinal fortitude. So yeah, I just think the USA did prove that they were the better team in that game.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I agree with you. And you brought up Paul Skeens, and in a time where right now Tariq Skubal, the Detroit Tigers ace, is taking a lot of heat for not staying as long and playing with Team USA. Yeah. Paul Skeens, he's the man. He got him to the finals, and now we'll see what they do in the finals. But yeah, you bring up Mason Miller. He's had a heck of a World Baseball Classic. I mean, just some of the names on the offense, Aaron Judge leading the way. I mean, this is going to be memorable if they can get this done. And a guy like Kyle Schwarber, even, who's coming back to try to redeem from their loss to Japan. The Shohei Ohtani, Mike Trout battled to end the World Baseball Classic, last time. And now we'll kind of see there is no Shohei Ohtani to have to battle in the final this time. It's going to be either Venezuela or Italy. As Venezuela took out Japan, and Italy making their way with a shocking tournament. So we'll keep an eye on all that as we go along here. So we'll keep you tuned in. Obviously, we're here with you Monday through Thursday, prime time here, 10 to 11 o'clock. We got a little late start here, but we have a lot going on. I mean, we have a lot of new sponsors here. We also have, of course, our first network sponsor that joined us, which is our friend Allie Rose Fragrance. And Chad, AllieRoseFragrances.com, 20% off the order for first-time customers. InsideEdge20 is the code. Of course, that is the promo code. InsideEdge20, capital I, capital E, InsideEdge20. Great candles, great smelling candles. I mean, Christmas smelling candles. You got the apple candles, the spiced apple. I mean, you get just so many great options. Body mist for your loved ones. Use the code. Get 20% off. And especially with, just the holiday spring. I mean, look, you don't even need a holiday. If your mama's out there, you need to get your mama a candle, get your mama a candle. If you need to get your girlfriend or somebody a candle, get a candle, a body mist. I mean, it's great. AllieRoseFragrances.com, Chad. I mean, a great, great company. And I know you have been enjoying your candles over there in the Bryan household.
Absolutely. And they say that scent is the strongest sense tied to memory, right? So you want someone to remember you, get them an Allie Rose Fragrances candle, right? Every time they burn that candle, they're going to think of you. Get them two. because then they're going to have that backup candle, and for the next, I don't know, 2 months, they're going to be burning the candle. They're going to go, man, remember that? That was a great gift. And then maybe they'll go to allyrosefragrances.com and they'll get you a candle back, right? And it's just the gift giving never ends. But I love that, like I said, all vegan ingredients to these candles and the body mist, cruelty free. Again, everything's made and bottled and handled right here in the U.S. in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's a small business. Please visit allyrosefragrances.com. And especially when it's this windy, open the windows, light the candle, and people 10 miles down the road might come and go, hey, it smells so good. We're trying to find that smell. Remember the cartoons when you'd follow the scent with the pie with whatever, like pull your nose? That's an Alley Rose Fragrances candle for us right now. I mean, it smells amazing through the whole house. My kids love them, whatever. They're trying to steal them from me. I'm holding on to mine. I got to hide it sometimes, but it's okay. That's okay. But yeah, please visit allyrosefragrances.com. Use the code InsideEdge20 to save 20% off your first order.
Absolutely. InsideEdge20. You heard Chad and I. allyrosefragrances.com. InsideEdge20 is the code. 20% off your order. Great candles, great body mist, all that great stuff. Also, we have another great sponsor. We're going to take a pause here. We're going to let you hear from our friends at sportsmemorabilia.com. Actually, we're going to hear from us here on the Inside Edge Network telling you about sportsmemorabilia.com. But, of course, some great stuff there. We're going to take a quick pause here on Primetime. When we come back on Inside Edge Primetime, we are going to talk about the NCAA tournament. Miami, the Red Hawks, they made it in. But it wasn't as definitive as we would have thought back in February. Yeah. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Selection Sunday, a lot more, and get you prepped up as the NCAA tournament. March Madness starts up tomorrow with the first four. Very, very exciting stuff. So Chad and I are going to take a quick pause here. But again, when we come back, NCAA tournament, later on in the show, NBA talk. This is Inside Edge Primetime. Again, Chad Bryan, Eli Moon. This is Sports Memorabilia talking to you with the Inside Edge Network on Inside Edge Primetime.
Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Helps you lock in and focus. Over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. Oh, there we are.
Where am I?
There he is. There he is. I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime. We're getting all familiar with all of our new sponsors here, part of the Inside Edge Network, and the fam here, as you heard, W Energy. Inside Edge 10 is the code. And absolutely some great stuff there, Chad. Look, man, I know you heard. I had a heck of a day, man. I passed out. I got a Texas trip coming up this week. I'm just getting packed and ready to go. And my goodness, I'll tell you, some W Energy with jitterless and no crash. I mean, zero sugar. I mean, just a great option there. I think I'm going to get to grab some W Energy and get it while I'm out in Texas. So gonna have to keep an eye on that.
Plenty of flavors to choose from.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Hey, we talked a lot about the World Baseball Classic in that first segment, and a lot of great stuff to talk about. When official, that Team Venezuela is going to be playing Team USA. They did hang on against Team Italy. I believe the final score was 4-2 against Italy, and so that is the final here. 4-2. Just double checking there. 4-2. Team Venezuela over Italy. And, it's going to be an interesting one. We'll keep an eye on that, obviously, and we'll update you as we move along here on this week of prime time. But with that being said, something that did happen yesterday, we talked a little bit about it on Main Event, was Selection Sunday, March Madness. And the big story coming out of that Selection Sunday was the Miami, Ohio Redhawks, Chad. They made the NCAA tournament. They are going to be in the first four. They're going to be playing, I believe, Wednesday night against SMU, and they'll get an opportunity to show that, hey, you know what, we're 31-1. We had one rough, we had a rough loss. We're 31-1, but we're 31-1, and we're going to show you why we're doing that. So, what do you think about Miami? What do you think about the NCAA tournament here?
Well, I mean, do you want to look at the bracket while we talk about it? Let's bring up the bracket.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, much like home plate umpire Corey Blazer, as the Dominican team would tell you, he couldn't see the bottom of the zone. We can't see the bottom of the official bracket that came from the NCAA. This is from the NCAA, by the way. This is from NCAA.com. And you might think, oh, we'll remove that annoying banner, right? And then we'd be able to see it. But well, watch what happens when the banner goes away. Who's on that? That's me. There's still no bottom of the bracket. So we're just not going to talk about the who cares about those 15 seeds, right? They're probably not going to win. I'm just kidding. They could. Listen, we will actually talk tomorrow nights. I can't wait for the Tuesday top five because it may be related to the NCAA bracket in some way. So we'll talk about some strategies as we go on during the week, and I don't know if we're going to help you win your pool. But it's not a poll; it's a pool. I don't know if we're going to help you win or not, but we can at least talk about some strategies that might help you. Maybe they'll creep their way into the Tuesday top five. Who knows what's going to happen? But anyway, Miami of Ohio's in-ish, right? They're kind of in. They're one of the play-in teams. Whatever you can say that they're in. It's people go, well, they're not in the 64. So listen, it's just a 68 team tournament now. That's what it is. A lot of people think they should maybe go to 128 teams. Eli, I don't know how you feel about that. But listen.
Not 128. I mean,
feels
that's
like a lot, doesn't it? Like that just feels.
A lot.
Yeah, I love the integrity of the 64 teams. I guess I don't mind the play-in games. You know what I don't like about the play-in games, to be perfectly honest with you, and we've got this bracket up, like you can even read that. That is so small. If you want to get like a magnifying glass, listen, we're not going to tell anybody. I'm old, okay? I understand. I get it. The eyes aren't always what they used to be when you get to a certain age. And this bracket, maybe after like 20, you won't be able to say this anymore. But what I don't like about the playing games, Eli, to be perfectly honest with you, sometimes I procrastinate, right? On just doing some things that I know I need to do, and we can bring the banner back up. It doesn't matter. The playing games make me fill out, but first of all, I got to go print my brackets, right? I got to get the printer up and running, and then I got to print my brackets. I got to fill them out faster than I used to have to. I used to just have to have them done by Thursday morning, right? That was it. Now you have to have them done by it's tomorrow are the playing games, right? Tuesday.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I'll tell you, there's some interesting teams to keep an eye on too in the play-in. I mean, I'm not Joe Lunardi out here. Okay, I'm not bracketologist, but I will tell you there's some interesting teams to keep an eye on in this first four, and Prairie View is one of them. I think Prairie View is going to be an interesting team. Prairie View A&M, they're going to be an interesting one. I watched a lot of conference basketball, conference tournament basketball, I should say, and Prairie View was one of those teams I was like, okay, well, if a team was going to shock anybody, could it be them? So the first four tomorrow, you have Liberty versus George Mason, and I'm sorry. You have UMBC versus Howard. UMBC versus Howard for the 2-16 seeds there, and then Texas and NC State, and then you have some NIT action as well here for the NCAA. That's what I was like, Liberty and George Mason. Why did I miss that?
By the way, I saw Florida State decline their invite to the NIT. I saw that today.
Yes, they sure did. Yep, they did. And so those are the games you have tomorrow. Texas, NC State, the late game, of course, UMBC and Howard. The one to keep an eye on, obviously, we have Miami of Ohio. We're talking about them. They play at 9:15 against SMU. And the other matchup, again, like I said, is Prairie View A&M team against Lehigh. I think they're going to make some noise, Chad. I think they're going to win this game against Lehigh. Yes, they're going to be a 16 seed, but we have seen it happen before. We have seen, Fairleigh Dickinson, they did upset, Purdue, that Zach Edey team. I mean, it can happen. And this is the beautiful thing about the NCAA tournament, the March Madness, the madness of it all is not going to be chalk every single year. Last year was kind of an anomaly where it was very to the point. The top seeds won.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, that was really crazy. But, yeah, by the way, that was the Purdue team that I picked to win the whole thing that lost.
Yes.
16 seed and Fairleigh Dickinson. I just wanted to point that out.
You picked them to win. Oh, not just go to the Final Four. You picked them to win it.
Yeah, that was my national champion that year. And there were many reasons at the time that you could have picked them and been fine with it. And then they immediately lost in the first round. So that was fun. I took a lot of flack for that, but that's what happens sometimes, right? I mean, hey, that's what happens. You lose to a 16 seed in life.
Another thing, Chad. Not to interrupt you. My apologies, but another thing is this East region. Look. I don't have 20/20 vision anymore. I should have worn my glasses when I was younger, but I didn't. But you look at this, you got Duke up there, the top seed, obviously. You have St. John's with Rick Pitino. You have Ohio State, first time in 4 years they're in the tournament. You have Michigan State in an interesting matchup with North Dakota State. You have some very interesting teams. I believe you have TCU, Kansas. Obviously,
UConn down there at the 2 seed, yeah.
Yeah, UConn. I mean, yeah, it's just a very, very interesting bracket. Of course, UCLA, who got hot near the end. We've talked about Mick Cronin and his outburst, but UCLA having an outburst on the court in terms of they're doing pretty well. I mean, they're a 7th seed there against UCF, so that's going to be interesting.
By the way, I wish I wouldn't name these regions by regional names. I wish this was like the all outburst bracket, right? Like you put all the coaches that have had an outburst up in the East, right, and you just call it the outburst bracket. I think it would be a lot more fun. It might bring in some more viewers, Eli. I don't know.
You know what? We might be onto something here, pal. We might be onto something. You know what?
Got ideas.
Absolutely. Is there any? Look. I know there's a ton of matchups on here. A ton of teams. Is there any teams that stand out to you that have the best chance of winning this? I mean, is there anything that? I mean, have you had a good enough chance to take a look at this whole thing?
I mean, I don't know. I'm intrigued by what Michigan can do. Michigan had such a good start to the season. I don't know if you remember. Michigan was like 12 or 13-0 and hadn't. I don't think they'd had like a 10 or 15 point game yet. Like they were blowing everybody out. And I know your beginning of the season schedule isn't always that strong, but I do like Arizona as well. I think Arizona could easily go on a run and win a national title here. And you can never count Kentucky out. They've had a rough run of it. The last whatever. It's not been, I guess, what Big Blue is used to, right? Over the last 5 or however many years, but you never count Kentucky out. But I really like Arizona. I like Michigan. I don't know, man. Duke is Duke. I don't know. I just UConn's probably not the same as they've been over this, I didn't watch as much college basketball this year to really go much farther than like the 4 or 5 seeds. I mean, some of the smaller teams, I honestly, I don't know a ton about.
Yeah.
Just I haven't gotten to watch them play as much as I'd like to. But yeah, I really like Arizona. I'm really intrigued by what Michigan can do. Honestly, that's where I'm looking right now. But I'm looking at like some of the brackets. Ohio State, if they win that first round game, they're gonna have to go probably see Duke, I would imagine. That poor Buckeyes, right? They finally get into the tournament, and it's like, hey, here's one of the toughest paths. But
yeah,
that's how it goes.
With Cameron Boozer too, yeah, I think Duke's gonna be a tough matchup.
Yeah.
Michigan State, this just seems like one of those teams that Tom Izzo has a good grasp on. Like, okay, we got depth, and he's had to work out the flaws early on in the season, and they've had their midseason struggles. I think they're ready, they're battle tested, and they could be interesting. St. John's with Rick Pitino, that's gonna be very interesting. Some teams, and then you saw that Prairie View A&M Lehigh matchup. I keep talking about that. They played the defending national champions, Florida Gators.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you're looking for a 16/1, you're hearing it right here, right now from Eli Moon on Inside Edge Network.
Uh-oh.
The Prairie View A&M Lehigh winner will beat Florida in the first round of March Madness.
And now, is that a phonetic thing, or is it Eli rooting for Lehigh? Is that what's going on here?
No. Well, I don't have a dog in the fight per se, but I think Prairie View wins that game. Prairie View A&M. But if Lehigh wins, I think they win that. I think we have a 16/1 this year in terms of an upset. I really do think we have one.
I think social media has made, and there's NIL money. I know some of the smaller schools don't have NIL, but you can find a deal. You've got the transfer portal as wild. Some guys can whatever. I think all of these things have kind of grouped to make just a little more parity, right? And that's why we saw, Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue a couple of years ago, whatever, the 16/1. I mean, it doesn't seem as impossible as it used to. We don't have the 1-16 matchups where it's like 124-59 anymore. We don't see that. I mean, you see some 1 seeds beating 16s. It's 84-71. It's a close game. And
Yes.
you think about a couple bounces, a couple balls hit the rim and rim out or whatever, and all of a sudden you've got a very, very different game. And if you've got one guy as a 16 seed that can kind of fill it up, if he gets hot or they get hot. I say this all the time, by the way, going to the NCAA tournament. I think sometimes the smaller schools struggle a little bit when you go to a bigger arena and play because you're used to a more, I don't know, it's the background's closer, right, in your gym, and it throws off your depth perception when you play in a bigger arena. And I think sometimes that's why you see some of the shooting issues in the first and second round. That's just, guys playing in arenas that they're just not used to, right? There's the deep back, people behind the glass that maybe they're not used to seeing normally. I know that sounds weird or whatever, and maybe it sounds like an excuse to you, but it really does. It throws off your depth perception. It makes the rim look very, very small out there. And I think sometimes that's why you see some of the shooting issues. They're using a different ball. I remember that, in high school, you'd use like the Spalding basketball, right? And then they would switch to a Wilson Jet for the tournament, for the playoff or whatever, the tournament. And if you ever hold one versus the other, Spalding is very, it's very grippy. It's very good. The Wilson Jet is very slippery. It feels like a different basketball. I mean, it really can make a difference. So little things like that you have to look into. You got to look at, okay, what arena does this team play in? What are they going to play? Are they going to play in like a huge? Is that going to throw them off? Weird little things that you have to. And again, we'll talk about some strategies, maybe some very basic strategies tomorrow as we get into. And by the way, Eli, do you fill out your bracket with the first 4? Do you care about those games, or do you wait for the 64 to fill out your bracket?
So I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't filled out my bracket yet.
Okay.
But I think we both should do it within the next 8 to 12 hours.
I thought you said 8 to 12 minutes. Yeah, I agree. No,
Yeah, 8 to 12 minutes. But we should do it the proper way. Mm-hmm. We should fill it out with the first 4 and see how many we get exactly right. There's 68 teams, Chad. There's not 64 teams in this. So what are we doing by not including the teams that we got to include these teams. We got to include these first 4 teams.
I get it.
The 8 that are going to play here in the first 4 or 2 days of the tournament. So yes, I think we got to fill those out. We'll see. Right. Let's have a little primetime battle. Let's see who has a better bracket. What we'll do too, keep an eye out on the Inside Edge Network. We'll do it here on Inside Edge since we are Inside Edge Primetime. we'll see if we can talk to our program director, AA Anthony Alford, which stay tuned, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford coming up at midnight. A little bit of a closer gap here, so you won't have to wait as long for him. We'll see if we can talk to him about putting up a primetime / Inside Edge Network bracket challenge and get it going. Obviously, going to be close with the tournament starting up Tuesday, but we'll see if we can get that up there, get you to fill it out, and everybody out there tuning in. So make sure you give a follow to Inside Edge Net. That is Inside Edge Net for all the socials for Inside Edge Network on everything. So you can stay locked in, and we'll get this bracket challenge going. We're probably just more, obviously just for fun, but, we're just getting started up here. We're in the first, year of the network, but soon maybe, down the line. But this year we'll do it for fun and bragging rights. So see if you can beat Chad and I, and we'll go from there. So
I'll tell you can definitely beat me. I'll tell you that. It's not that you won't be saying much, but you can definitely beat me. And for some reason, I've had no luck filling out my bracket the last few years. I don't know what that's about, but
I'll tell you,
first round. That's where you got to score big in the first round, right?
Yes, and you got to look out for the 12-5 matchups. That's the other thing I'll tell you about too. High Point of Wisconsin, a nice matchup. McNeese, and they have, I believe, it's Amir Khan. They're, I believe, he's the equipment manager. He works on the staff where he had the boombox last year. McNeese is playing Vanderbilt. I believe that's the matchup, McNeese and Vanderbilt. But McNeese is back in the tournament. Just exciting. Akron's in the tournament. Akron had a very last second shocking win over Toledo. I mean, not necessarily shocking. They were probably the favorite after Miami got bounced, especially in the MAC tournament. But they beat Toledo. They come from behind. And
two MAC teams for the first time since 1999. That's wild.
Yes, absolutely. Wally Zerbiak is somewhere smiling. And we are happy. Cavaliers legend Wally Zerbiak. So how about
maybe he's smiling because no one can spell his last name correctly, right? Maybe that's it.
Well, we'll have to send you on the reporting and see exactly what it is.
A lot of C's and Z's. It's confusing. It's hard for me. Yes.
You know what? Hey, we'll get Chad working on that. We'll see if we can get a hold of Wally Zerbiak. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see if we get a Wally Zerbiak on the show here and talk about the Miami Redhawks. See if Wally Zerbiak's out there listening, we'd love to have you on the show and talk about the Miami Redhawks. So,
first of all, let's not spell your name, so we do that right. Yeah, let's do that, and then we'll.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to take a quick pause here. When we come back, we're going to put a bow on this Monday edition of Primetime. How crazy. We're having so much fun. But, yes, it's almost time to get out of here and hand the baton off to AA Anthony Alford for Midnight Run. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA. Reports are coming out that the NBA might be expanding. New teams, new cities, old cities that had teams once before. Okay, I won't give it all away. We'll talk about it when we come back here on Primetime. That's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I'm Eli Moon. And we're going to talk about the NBA when we come back here on the Inside Edge Network.
Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at mossermomentsphotography.com.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan, to my right. Oh, there he is. Your left. I am Eli Moon. We are getting so familiar with all this fun sponsor work. Obviously, we got to work it in. We have so many great additions to the family here. Fanatics. W Energy, Mosser Moments Photography, we just heard from them. W Energy, I mentioned them. Alley Rose Fragrances, Sports Memorabilia. We have so many great sponsors here. We are appreciative here, and we appreciate you here on the Inside Edge Network, tuning on in here on Inside Edge Primetime. We're here with you again Monday through Thursday, 10 to 11 p.m. Typically, got a little bit of late start, so you're getting us a little bit after 11 o'clock. Again, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford at midnight. I'll produce that show, and W have a lot to talk about. I'm excited to hear what he has to talk about. Saw him yesterday for main event, but it's a different double A I get on Monday through Wednesday, Chad. It's first off, it's usually around the time we're ending main event is when we're starting up Midnight Run.
Right.
So it's a lot to pick up with double A, but we are rocking and rolling again midnight with Midnight Run with Anthony Alford after primetime here.
When does he sleep, Eli? Does he ever sleep? He might be sleeping right now, actually.
He might be sleeping right now. We're gonna send.
You know what? We're gonna have to talk. If he's sleeping through our show, we're gonna have a talk with him.
You're absolutely right. You know what? I'm with you. You know what? Hopefully he's watching, and hopefully everybody out there is enjoying it. With that being said, we are gonna talk here one more time about the NBA. One more time on this final segment. Yeah. We're gonna talk about of this Monday edition. We're back to probably talk about the NBA tomorrow, but tonight we're gonna talk about the relocation or maybe expansion of these NBA teams. When I mean relocation, I mean because maybe Seattle gets a team back. Chad, there's some talks of Las Vegas, Seattle, maybe being the front runners for the NBA expanding. What do you feel? How do you feel about the NBA expanding? And what cities do you think should get new NBA teams? Do you think it should be Vegas and Seattle?
I don't see why not Vegas. Listen, it's been long overdue for Seattle. I can't wait. Are they going to be able to be the Supersonics? What happened when they moved to Oakland? I mean, did they keep the franchise? Because when the Browns moved to Baltimore, there was contention. We didn't know if they were going to be able to be the Browns if they came back for a while, and the legal stuff was getting all that battle got. Look at the team like the Tennessee Titans, right? Houston Oilers. Like you couldn't have the Houston Oilers again because the Tennessee Titans took that with them. Even though they're the Tennessee Titans, that you couldn't have the Oilers anymore, which is horribly disappointing, by the way. Maybe the coolest logo, and really, maybe all of pro sports was the Oilers logo. It was awesome. I loved that when I was a kid. But yeah, it's long overdue for Seattle. Listen, I can't wait to see Gary Payton back out there and Sean Kemp and Detlef Schrempf. They're gonna bring these guys out. They're cryogenically frozen. I think is what happens when you lose your franchise. Right? Is that what they? Is that not what they?
No. But you are spot on that it would be fun to see the Sonics do their thing, man. And
it'd be awesome. Green and yellow back out there, wouldn't it?
Yes. And per ESPN's Shams Charania, he reported Monday that next week's Board of Governors meeting will include a vote to explore adding Seattle and Las Vegas. So, though the question says which cities, it does seem like it's pretty much decided. Vegas becoming the heart of the sports world, obviously the Las Vegas Raiders, you have the Golden Knights, I mean, you have the Aces and the WNBA, you have a ton of stuff going on there in Vegas. I mean, they're trying to get the Athletics, obviously, So, I mean, you have so much going on, and now you bring a Vegas basketball team.
And remember, there's a legal battle for the Athletics name, too. That may not be the Athletics when they go to Las Vegas. They might spend the year as the Las Vegas baseball team unless they get that all hashed out. I mean, that's going to be kind of a legal mess too. These things aren't always without some kind of a little bit of messiness, like I said. So
yeah, but I am excited. You brought up Seattle. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Even Kevin Durant's talked about Seattle Supersonics. Should have. Yeah. It would have been cool to be a Supersonic. I mean, they had the coolest logo. The colors were awesome for the jerseys and the color scheme. I mean, yeah,
Sean Kemp was electric. I mean, absolutely electric to watch. I mean, it was some of the best dunks that
And Gary Payton, Gary Payton, the glove. I mean, my goodness. I mean, just amazing. And it'll be interesting.
Era of basketball, by the way, was that early '90s to the late '90s, maybe even the early 2000s. That was my golden era. I mean, there's so much going on in the NBA. We don't have to hash it out, but. NBC did the NBA on NBC. They did the retro thing. I mean, that was awesome. That was great.
Yes.
Again, that's my golden year of the golden era for me of the NBA. So it'd be fun to see, I guess some memory of that back in Seattle and the Supersonics.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so interesting to keep an eye on expansion teams. Throughout different sports, they have some success. Sometimes they don't. In NHL, it seems like they have really recently. Las Vegas had a ton of success. The Golden Knights right off the rip. Seattle Kraken have had, I think, some postseason success. So just interesting keeping an eye on that. I'm curious to see how they'll do the expansion draft. To 28-29 is what they're planning for. 28-29 season is what they're hoping they can get this going. So obviously next year will be the 27-28 or 26-27 season. Yeah. So then 27-20. So I mean, we got a few seasons away, but coming a lot faster than look, me and Papa Moon were having a conversation about how 2030 is coming a lot faster than we thought because we were talking about how, I can't remember what it was we were talking about in 2030. And I go, it's supposed to happen in 2030. He goes, 2030, man, that's a minute away. I go, that's 4 years away.
Yeah. It's going a lot faster than I wanted to. That's for sure.
Yeah, Well, hey, we'll talk about obviously that's our big NBA stuff. Cavs are kind of making waves in terms of. I mean, I know they lost yesterday to the Dallas Mavericks. We talked about it on main event. They play tomorrow against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Max Strus, though, man, Max Strus.
Yes. Yes.
It was fun to see him efficient out there. I mean, he's got the hair going on. I don't know.
Yeah, cool. 6 threes. I mean, he looked good, and he had a ton of energy. I mean, it's good to see. And hopefully we get Jared Allen here back. The Cavs, like I said, play Milwaukee tomorrow. They play in Chicago on Thursday.
Do you know? Wait, is Strus playing in that game tomorrow? Do you have any? Are they easing him back in? I don't know if he's I don't know if he's going to have experience any foot soreness or how he's feeling after that game. He was out there for what? How many minutes did he play? 18, 19 minutes, 20 minutes? I don't even know.
Yeah, I know he scored 24 in the debut off of the broken left foot injury where he had the surgery. I'm looking here for how many minutes he played last night, but he did play a substantial amount of minutes for the Cavaliers.
For not having played in 7 months or 8 months or whatever it was. Yeah, that was
Yeah. No, it was incredible. And obviously that we wish you would have got the win against a Dallas Mavericks team that just isn't very good. Respectfully, they aren't very good. Okay. Yeah, but they're just not very good. But the Cavs can't be dropping those types of losses. I want to say you can't be dropping those types of wins. You didn't win the game, so you dropped the win to the Dallas Mavericks, and hopefully they can get a few wins here against Milwaukee, against Chicago, two teams that you should take care of business against. And then you get New Orleans. You're in New Orleans, and you come back home against Orlando in a game where just saw Orlando not too long ago. Hopefully you can right the wrong against them and get ready for the playoffs because it is about that time.
Yes, it is. It's again maybe coming a little bit fast. Well, I don't know. I guess the playoffs. Listen, I'm at an age I don't want to wish any time away. I tell my kids all the time, don't wish time away. You don't want to do that. You'll regret that one day. But yeah, I mean, the playoffs are coming faster than maybe they're going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I agree. Hopefully the Cavs are ready.
Absolutely. I agree, Chad. Hey, we have talked a lot here about a lot of great stuff here on this Monday. Unfortunately, we only get an hour here. And we are near the end of that hour. It is time for final thoughts, my friend. We'll put a bow on this Monday edition, and we'll reconvene for this Tuesday. But what do you have to tell the people here on the Inside Edge Network? What are your final thoughts on this Monday edition of Inside Edge Primetime?
Well, listen, apparently I've learned that you can't skip the first four when you're filling out your bracket. Can't do that. You can't leave the first, those teams can't be left out. So we gotta fill out a bracket for a field of 68. So start doing that tonight, because we've got games tomorrow. We've got those games. They're going on Tuesday. So start filling out your bracket. Tomorrow, again, we'll talk about possibly some strategies. And again, we understand there might be some first four teams that are already in, and we know that. That's fine. But we'll talk about how to fill out your bracket for the field of 64. We'll give you some strategies if you want to win. Well, I'm going to pump the brakes on that. We want to give you some strategies if you want to write things on your bracket for your office pool or for your friends or whatever. I'm not going to tell you what we're going to say is going to help you win. I'm just simply telling you that we'll give you a few different strategies that you can employ if you choose to do so. I will not say we'll help you win, because this is something I was better at when I was younger. I don't know if I just watched more college basketball. Maybe I was more in tune. But I remember, filling out my bracket, going like 28 to 32 in the first round and being like, all right, I'm sitting pretty good, right? Now I'm lucky if I'm like 22, 23, 24 out of 32 in the first round. It gets a little murky sometimes. Maybe it is the 5-12s that toss. It's a lot of 8-9s that I lose. Sometimes I'll go 0 for 4 on the 8-9 matchup, Eli. That's not good, right? You got to win one of those. So, yeah, maybe I need to do a little bit more homework on my end. But, yeah, listen, just and have fun. Fill out your bracket. Don't take it too seriously, right? And also, I'd like to know, Eli, are you the kind of – well, you said you haven't filled out for a couple of years, but some people have their main bracket, right? They have their backup bracket. I guess that's in case like their team that they have winning it gets knocked out or whatever. They have you have a chaos bracket, almost all upsets. You get your whatever. People have their different brackets. So think about that. If you want to be a different bracket person, right? If you want to have 4 or 5 different brackets, because what's the point, right? You put in 5 brackets. You don't want to have the same thing 5 times. You don't want to do that. So you got to think about like your strategy that you're going to employ, like what your different brackets are going to look like. That's a whole lot of stress and anxiety, right? So don't let it get to you. Just wait until tomorrow night. We'll have some help on the way. Again, I don't know how good the help is going to be, but it's something, right? It's something to reference. So that's all I've got. Just have fun filling out your bracket. And I guess we got to do that tonight, or at least early in the morning before those first 4 games. So
yes, we're definitely gonna have to do that. I love that. My final thoughts are to piggyback on that. Find a Cinderella team that you can cheer for. I mean, I've talked about Prairie View A&M, or if Lehigh gets it done, but I mean, you got Akron in the tournament. Ohio State's an 8 seed. They're not necessarily a Cinderella, but they could shock some people as an 8 seed. You got some teams, McNeese, coming back. So find a Cinderella team to cheer for.
Find a Cinderella team that has some personality too, like something that something fun to hitch your wagon to, right? Because if they go on to the Sweet 16, whatever. You want to have some fun every round watching them, right? So make sure you do that.
Yes, absolutely. Have some fun. Find a Cinderella team and fill your bracket out. We're gonna talk to AA Anthony Alford, our program director of the Inside Edge Network, and see if we can get a bracket challenge going here very quickly with limited time. And if everybody out there is tuning in, we'll fill one out. We can compete with Chad and I. But that is going to put a bow on this edition of Inside Edge Primetime. Again, shout out and thank you to all of our sponsors, Fanatics, Sports Memorabilia, W Energy, Alley Rose Fragrances, and Mosser Moments Photography. Thank you to all of you for believing in all of us. Thank you to all you out there tuning on in. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net. Thanks for choosing us as your digital leader and your source for sports, entertainment, and mental health conversation. We appreciate you so much. Again, reminder, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford. It's not even... Usually it's about an hour you got to wait. About 27 minutes. And AA Anthony Alford rocking and rolling. I'll be producing, running the 1s and 2s. So tune in. He's got a lot to talk about. It's unhinged at the midnight hour. So make sure you tune in for Midnight Run with Anthony Alford. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. We're back in the saddle 10 p.m. tomorrow for Inside Edge Primetime. I am Eli Moon. We want everybody out there to have a great rest of your night. Stay locked in here at Midnight Run with Anthony Alford. After us. See ya.